joined by our love panel that I love so much, Oliver Hudson, Taye Diggs, and sex and expert relationship guru, Dr. Tiffanie Henry. Now, we're about to turn up the heat. We're going to actually start to answer those sex questions that you may want to know. So let's first set the scene, shall we? Dr. Tiff,
yes.
What is like a high priority #1 tip that comes top of mind when we talk about getting intimate?
To not think that just because it worked in one relationship, that it's going to work in this one. A lot of times people come into a relationship and they think, oh, this move killed it in the last relationship. The ladies love this.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or most guys like it when I do this one thing. And that's not necessarily the case. What it is that the last person liked it.
Correct.
Or that the last person didn't say they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Or the last person let me believe that I was crushing it and really I was doing absolutely nothing.
Right. Right.
Communication is so important.
It absolutely
and
is.
To be able to get it out of the way immediately, like before your first time, have the talk. Have a talk. Talk about what you like, what you don't like, what gets. I mean, it seems embarrassing and uncomfortable, but sometimes you ram right into the embarrassment.
Oh yeah, you do.
And you'll get it over with, and then you can get what you like.
I'd like to ask the guys a question too, which is what happens for men's perspective, because I do know the woman, which is a lot of the time, the first time is not always the best time. So why do we put so much pressure or read so much into the first time, and how can we change that for the better?
This is interesting.
Because everybody's different. Everybody likes different
right.
things.
You know, Taye's single, so he can probably speak to this a little bit better. I mean, but I will say this, then I'll pass it on. Sexual chemistry is massive in a relationship for me. It is the #1. Of course, you need communication, you need all of those things. But that sexual chemistry is supposed to last you a lifetime. And that's when you start to try new things. The communication comes in. The vulnerability helps tremendously with that, because then when you feel as comfortable as you can with that person, it opens you up not just from a communication standpoint, but also from a sexual standpoint.
And
I've talked about it before maybe on this show, but I went and did a lot of work on myself at this place called the Hoffman Institute. And I really changed my whole dynamic. And it opened me up, allowed me to be more vulnerable with my wife, which made our relationship so much better. And then the first time we had sex after the Hoffman Institute, it was insane. It was deeply connected. There was a freedom there that I hadn't experienced before. So sex evolves. It doesn't have to be stagnant. It can always evolve. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. That's
so encouraging.
And that's really encouraging for the married folks, in long-term relationships.
And that goes for women and men.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what about that first time, and why we put so much, not only emphasis, but almost decision-making on, it was great, therefore everything's going to work out. It wasn't great, therefore I don't know if this is going to work out. I mean, that's literally, I've had that conversation with my friends. It's Sex in the City. We know this. That first time can really throw us off.
Yeah.
For the right or wrong reasons.
Right. We do put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and I think that's kind of, you know, movies and TV shows, and we convince ourselves that it's got to be this be all end all, and it doesn't. But it's going to be, you got to have some ebb and flow. I think there's a fine line where you can kind of do what you do, still be sexy, but then be checking in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question, though, because I know how critical you are of yourself and how your brain spins around.
Yeah.
Does that play into it when you're first intimate with a new person? Or you're like, am I doing good? Should I do that?
I have to try to turn that off, and I'm trying to focus on the woman.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That works.
We appreciate
Until
that.
I was just going to say.
Until recently,
Thank
I'm
you.
running into a lot of women that are like, oh, you need to know exactly what you're doing. If I got to tell you then we...
Oh,
and
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no, no,
whoa,
no.
chill
Can't read
out.
anybody's mind.
Yeah. But there are a lot of people out there
You
that just
can't
want to sit
have an
back.
expectation of them being able to read your mind. It's just, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
But I think this is why it's so important to get to know someone before we get to that stage. Because I could have been with someone previously who really didn't like the instruction, didn't want to be talked to, didn't all of that. But then get with Taye, and he's overthinking things already, and we need to have some conversations so that I understand
so we can
what
relax.
he likes. Right.
Wait, we have an audience member here. Where's Christina? Are you? Hi. How are you?
Drew, I'm doing well. So I've been menopausing for 6+ years, so I'm drier than the Sahara Desert. I wanted to know if there was any way to, like, I don't know, tease my husband with food. Like, I want to spice up our love life in other ways.